It's me, Vera, here to remind you that this is an adult podcast. That means we're going to deal with tough topics. Take a break if you need it, and be kind to yourself, because we sure won't be.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cracked Crown, Episode 4, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition podcast. As always, I'm your storyteller, Mike Martin, joined by three of my wonderful players today, Bub, Josh, and Dot. Hello. It's like the OG minus Max, actually. Yeah, it's been a fun first kind of intro to the series. Probably the most action-packed intro we've had into a series. You regained yourselves last episode, and we kind of left off. Some might call it an assassination attempt. Maybe someone's calling it like a calling card. Who knows? But a bullet was fired through a window that you found to almost have hit Max's head. If it wasn't for him slipping, he may have been hit by it. Before we dive into the show, as always, we have to do what we always do. Tell you where you can go support us and give us your money. Go to patreon.com/podbynight, where you can empty your wallets for us so we can pretend to be vampires for you. It's a very good deal, I promise. You guys can support us over there. You get a bunch of extra stuff. There's like a little behind the scenes. We got behind the scenes after shows, both audio and video, depending on the tier you're on. You can also join a Text RP thing. There's a big event coming up. Isn't that right, Bub? Yeah, we announced that already, didn't we?
We did. It is happening as we speak. For all of you that wanted to maybe give the online Discord community roleplay a chance, you can come join us for the next few weeks at the $10 tier.
Yeah, and I think we had just discussed that we were going to extend that past the month of March into April. It's going to run a 2-month gig, and you guys can come on board. Come find yourselves into the welcoming arms of the flock of the inner light.
If you ever wanted to join the cult of Bub, now's the chance. and all we need is $10, like a true cult.
We're cheap, man. We're cheap.
We should be getting some tax breaks if this is the case.
You got to set it up like Scientology. $10 entry fee, but there's levels, and then it's more money.
Yeah, and then the next level is the $25 tier, where you get to join a real faction, and you don't have to be sacrificed as a shovelhead.
You can level up.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna jump back in, guys. If you guys are ready to go, let's set the scene. Let's rein things in and kind of pick up right where we left off. Vera, standing at the top of the stairs as our vision fades in, as the night sky through the window is on its last minutes before the sun rises. And Max, as he's clutching his gut, stepping down the stairs, past your vision, you see what left behind. The bullet hole, after having been fired upon. The window, having the bullet hole shattered through it. And the rooftops, where it came from. I imagine Vera and whoever may be at the top of the stairs makes their way over to the window as quickly as they can. Please go ahead, whoever may be there. Make me a wits awareness check.
2
for Shaun.
Vera, as she runs, will turn on heightened senses to see if she senses anything out of the ordinary. So I just add my...
Yeah, heightened senses is free, right? It's level 1.
It's free.
Yeah.
I will add the 2 aspects to this. I want it. Didn't help me at all.
Wow. That's incredible.
Didn't help me at all. That was a hot, steaming pile of 0 for everybody listening.
0. So you run over, and right behind you, Shaun jogs up behind you and looks out the window alongside you. Does Duke also follow, or does he actually make his way down the stairs?
Too many cooks, man. If there's everybody at the window, Duke is going to do what Duke does best, and he's going to see to the round that's blocked the wall. So
Duke reaches with it's buried pretty deeply. I imagine you kind of just like... with your vampiric strength, just kind of crack to the wall, peel it away, and pull, bullet out. As you do so, Vera and Shaun, you realize as you're staring out to the night sky across a skyline you're unfamiliar with, you do not see any trace of an individual outside. You see nothing.
Shaun's going to go outside.
Is Duke like examining this, taking the time to look at it now, or are you just like picking it, pocketing it, and you look at it in the next night when you rouse?
I think Duke is just trying to determine if this is a rifle.
Oh, rifle. 100% rifle round.
It's a rifle. Okay.
And I'm so sorry. You said Shaun leaves the building?
Mm-hmm.
Shaun, it's almost sunup.
Then we have, 20 minutes to catch this guy?
I didn't move with my broom, Shaun. So, who's going to sweep you up when you don't make it back in time?
Fuck, I can't do that anymore.
This appears to be a high-caliber, long-range rifle. Something meant for hunting.
Whoever it was would have had to, say, touch that and loaded it, yes?
Probably touching the casing. You rarely touch the bullet itself. Just the casing.
I put my hand out regardless. Somebody had to load this round into something. Vera's going to try a premonition on the round.
Yeah, so you're going to force a premonition, so that would be a rouse check. Yay. And then you will be rolling me a resolve auspex roll, please.
So that will be 6 total. 1, 2 successes.
Okay, and would you like to reroll any of those?
I would not with my willpower and the current state it's in.
When Vera induces it a vision, what does she exactly do? Does she just simply close, like she takes the bullet into her hands and close her eyes? Please, like, how does it look when Vera is about to rouse the blood to use it? Kind of a supernatural ability that we don't see her use very often.
Vera induces pain. So as the bullet kind of hits her palm, she'll dig one of her nails into her flesh and kind of just draw a little vitae for the sake of pain, not the actual blood magic piece. And that's all it takes. Sometimes she bites her lip. Mm-hmm. Sometimes she'll cut her arm. But in this case, this needs to be quick and dirty. She wants to know who the hell has the audacity to shoot at Max.
As you go about doing exactly that, and you close your eyes to hopefully glean a little information with 2 successes, you see flashes of a store. You can't see any of the names clearly. Everything seems to be blurred. When AI makes its garbage art that it steals, the text on it that's just gobbledygook, that's kind of what it is like for you right now, Vera. As you look around, you can tell that you're in an arms shop. A small one, certainly, not 2 floors, maybe like a corner store somewhere. As you look around, you can't really like move through this particular vision. And I need a wits awareness from you, please.
I'm guessing this is a flat wits awareness because I can't really use my abilities. A success.
With a success, there's a moment where instead of being in the middle of the store, if we were to take our camera and place it there, there's a quick blur, a blink for a moment, and instead we're looking directly down on a countertop. The piece of paper, a receipt for a rifle and some ammo. The date is impossible to make out, but you see an older gentleman's hand reach forward, take the receipt, and then take the box of ammo that was purchased that you could probably describe pretty well for Duke to see if it mirrored anything. And as that hand grabs that box of ammo, it's like a flicker again, a glitch in the visual, and you're back where you are. It's hard with only 2 successes, not a ton of details are available.
I imagine at this point Vera is tired. We've been in combat, and though she's taken no physical damage, she has used every ounce of willpower she has.
Yeah, technically we are still within the 12 hours after the finale episode of last season. So
and Vera probably leans on the wall and hands what is now a bloody bullet back to Duke. I didn't get much. It's definitely bought from an ammo store. I imagine it couldn't have been far. I'm too tired to see that far.
Well, it's too short from the form of a revolver. It's not a Webley, maybe an ACP, a Schofield, actually Magnum.
No, the box of ammo, and I'll kind of give the description to Duke of this box of ammo.
And it matches you can describe the box as it's a 45 caliber rifle rounds that she describes to put an exact number on the caliber of round that was used.
It's an ACP. There's a strong chance that it's either going to specifically a hunting rifle, potentially a carbine, depending on how equipped this individual is.
If Duke is correct in that it is a hunting rifle, then you're likely looking at a gun store on the outskirts of Chicago, potentially somewhere where there's more availability to head out into the woods or nature, and less likely to closer to the center of Chicago, where you probably imagine more assault rifles and pistols are being sold.
I did not get his face, but I do remember his hands vividly. Older, damage from both age and work.
It narrows things down. It still should be rather difficult, and we're running out of time. Daylight's upon us.
Max has already made his way down the stairs and is probably waiting on the first floor for you guys. He's clutching his side and just like, yeah, I'll be downstairs, Vera.
Don't usually say this, but Max could use a small break. Maybe a good night of rest. And If it is true this is a hunting rifle, it was very pointedly aimed at Max.
Could have hit his childer, could have hit me, could have hit Duke.
No, I think it was more of a fluke that it didn't hit Max. His head was right there, and I point right next to the bullet hole in the wall. It was a sheer accident that he was in too much pain to stand upright. And this gun and these bullets were bought for a purpose. This doesn't come out of somebody's closet. It wasn't dusted off of Granddaddy's shelf. Somebody bought this gun with a purpose.
Now, examining it, you know it's not dragonfire. And unless the round would take off Max's head, he likely would have survived, though maybe in a rough spot, depending. But yeah, just stuff to know. It's not a dragonfire round like Max's use.
Though I'm not usually worried about the average steel bothering Max, the fact that we also just witnessed somebody watching us from across the street and disappeared into a rat man.
I suppose that's a message is being sent. Shaun's right, though. We could be targeted, but they chose Max. This is a message. It has something to do with him.
As you think back, maybe a moment before you leave, there was one moment for us listeners and outside perspective. It was at the end of season 1. One time, one moment where Max mentioned and brought up others that were tied to and had dealings with Gustav in the past. That Gustav didn't always run alone. The man always had a circle that he ran with, and the fact that Gustav went off on his own isn't surprising, but it never lasts that long. He didn't talk. It was the day, if I remember correctly, as a storyteller, it was the day he was going to blow the balls off of Gustav.
You mean the day he did?
Yeah, the day he did is the day he was talking about it. I think he mentioned it very briefly. I think it was to Vera. I think the whole coterie was there, but I think Vera was the instigator of that particular conversation.
Max isn't one to make enemies, and the one enemy he had, he quickly put 2 holes in, so I'm trying to figure out why they would target Max specifically. More importantly, it's quite a welcoming party. We've only been on dry land for T-minus 2 hours.
There's a strong chance that we've been followed since then. We've been watched.
We were working for the prince. You can't just show up on our front door and attempt to harm us. This is a Camarilla-protected city.
We were vastly unannounced as well.
To some degree.
Maybe they saw it as an option.
Maybe they don't care about the rules.
Either way, they picked the wrong people. And I think Max should stay inside for a while.
Yeah, house arrest for Max.
Any normal day he would have survived a gunshot, but today, he might not have.
If they were attempting to slay Maxwell, they would have had to have been within 100 yards, depending on the type of long rifle, carbine or not. It's a strong chance that a roof shot excess the angle of trajectory. They're at least 2 stories up.
I'll have a look tomorrow night.
It seems odd that another kindred would choose a gun. The man across the street was a horde of rats. Why a rifle?
Sometimes the weapons we choose are very personal to us. Could have been something that they were close to in the real life. If I recall, Max said that he was once in the military and a certain ingrained trust with their firearms. Perhaps it was someone that he was indebted to in a similar service, or someone that Gustav had run around with.
He did say he was turned in some kind of military activity by Gustav, but my understanding is everyone else there died with it.
We have an affinity for certain things we've seen. Vera, you prefer the stiletto, sharpened blade, one meant for piercing. I favor something with a cutting edge. Shaun has his own means.
Vera looks at Shaun when Duke says that in such a complimentary way.
Shaun does finger guns.
That stuttering conversation, thanks to Shaun, the realization of the sun rising within less than an hour sinks. Lyle has a place in the basement here that is sunproofed and ready for the lot of you to spend in the evening, knowing full well that that you were going to need a place to stay. Everybody, I imagine, rests for the evening. If you would like to rouse check me for the following night.
Oh, let's get some of that willpower back, yes?
Oh, yeah, I spent 2.
I spent a lot. I spent a lot of willpower.
Almost like fighting werewolves is dangerous and costs all your resources. Like 2 more rounds, if it wasn't dead, you'd be having a much more hard time if you ran out of willpower.
Oh, for sure.
All right. Only one that gets hungrier is Shaun. Fantastic. And as you all rouse for the evening, Lyle would actually already be standing there. As your eyes open, over by the doorway, or rather the bottom of the stairs, he actually just stands there, sat down on the second stair of the stairwell, his knees close to his chest, and he's playing with like his fingers. He's picking at a fingernail in particular that's much lower than it should be. And his eyes keep glancing up, and eventually he glances up and catches that everybody in here is waking up instantaneously. And as he does so, he no longer looks down, but he continues to play and pick at his fingernail while he just watches Vera.
Vera's seeing an opportunity while everyone wipes the sleep away from their eyes, and so they're not concerned that Lyle was probably watching them in a dead slumber.
Absolutely did.
He absolutely was, I know. But Vera knows this and does not want to off-put the rest of the coterie, so she immediately gets up and she says, Lyle, I will meet you upstairs.
He simply nods and shuffles upstairs quietly, leaving the rest of you there.
I was about to say, I turn around and make eye contact with Duke and Shaun before I go, noting that maybe Max is still healing.
Yeah, Max is still there. He's rousing, but like his wound is closing slowly. He's got, I think, 1 more, maybe 2 more nights of having to heal aggravated.
Give us just a moment. And I kind of reference Lyle.
He nods and walks upstairs.
I'll make my way upstairs.
As he makes Lyle goes upstairs, realizing you're right behind him. The minute he hits that last stair, before even stepping into the room, he just turns around on that last stair and spins to face you.
Some space, Lyle. Go to the other end of the room.
With an awkward nod, he turns and walks to the other end of the room as you command.
Now that we are alone, please tell me what you've learned about Jackson.
He shakes his head for a moment before taking a kind of just a 1/2 step forward, and before realizing, like, you said to stay on the other side of the room, and he catches himself, and it makes him stutter over his words as he kind of fights an internal battle of wanting to approach you, but not, and eventually he kind of sets himself still and looks up to you and says, hard guy to follow. Busy man. Always has people with him.
Kind of people.
He shakes his head. Different people. Always a young kid with him, too. Often, anyway.
Vera will close the gap.
You see the just due to you being a kindred, you can see the glistening sweat in his palms begin to kind of seep forward.
And when I get just close enough, I'll bend over. He's a short man.
And you can hear him like a sharp inhale, and he holds his breath.
Whisper right in his ear. You've been here almost a month, and that's all we have.
The excited nerves just turn to nervous nerves, and he nods his head. I don't want to lie, yeah.
Can you identify the people he's with?
If I saw him again, I could.
Good. I'll pat him on the head.
And when you do, relief and tension leaves his shoulders.
Vera knows that it's been a while, and while she's standing here in his space, she'll just slice her wrist and give it to him.
Do you let him take it from your vein, or do you put in like a plastic cup nearby that he would have because he has?
No, the deal is the only time he gets to touch me is when he feeds.
Fair enough, that's right. So he wouldn't. You see, like his nerves and turn to pure excitement, but still mixed with nerves. And as he goes down to feed, our camera will cut back downstairs, where Duke and Shaun linger.
Shaun,
Duke.
you rest well.
Yeah? Small talk isn't you. What?
Shaun, I need a favor.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay.
I'm hungry. It's rare. My hunger moves at a bit of a glacial pace. I try not to tap into the things that make me the monster that I am. Last I fed was some months prior, courtesy of Vera, and that man upstairs, one that she favors, calls Lyle. I need to feed again, lest I lose control. We wouldn't want that.
Okay. You can't eat certain things, like lactose intolerant, right?
Close.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't eat women.
Gotcha. I have perfect would be the wrong word. I have a dude for you. So there is a drug den nearby. They do delivery.
I'll need clean blood, Shaun.
Okay, in that case, I'll have to go hunting.
I'll leave it in your hands.
Okay, great. Let's do that then.
Shaun makes his way up the stairs, right as Vera is like finishing her conversation with Lyle. Lyle's finishing feeding. You don't see him feed, actually. By the time you get up there, the deed is already done. And Lyle himself is going to immediately making his way out the front door to continue doing the task he's been assigned for the past month while he's been here. Vera turns around, probably about to head back down the stairs where she sees Shaun climbing up to the very top.
Shaun.
Vera, I'm off to the shops. Do you need anything?
The shops? What shop?
The shop where Duke gets his victuals.
That's a British term. I understand Duke's hungry. How do you have a connection for such things in Chicago?
Well, there's like a drug dealer convention.
What, so every drug dealer knows every other drug dealer?
Shaun knows nobody.
Yeah, not really though. I just know some druggies at this particular part of Chicago. But it's not even that. I'm just gonna go hunting. It'll be fine.
Well, last time I checked, we were the ones being hunted, Shaun.
It'll be fine.
You know that every time you say that, it is most certainly not fine.
Yeah, but how much of that is my fault?
Would you like an actual number or have Duke do the math?
No, I've not got time. We gotta be, we've got places to be.
That's what I thought. Just be careful is all I'm saying. And if you're being followed, don't come back here.
Careful's my middle name.
And then Shaun walks by Vera as Vera is at a loss for words to respond to that. And he strolls out the front door with confidence. Now, I know we talked about it off camera. Dean obviously edited it if nothing happens. But does Duke and Vera want to discuss anything, the two of them?
Yes, I come down the stairs immediately. You know, I don't think threatening him works anymore, Duke.
Pardon. I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Shaun, I'm concerned.
But that he's growing.
No. That he's a liability.
It's interesting that you say that. Shaun believes that you and I are liabilities.
Oh, well, of course we are. We took him in.
It's fair.
I imagine that everything on the boat was handled with some care.
I wish that I could agree with you, but it's not as much as the case, as you might believe.
Then I'm guessing that Shaun held his own.
Shaun is quite deft. I would say that he accesses a similar grace to yourself in so many ways.
Considering the fact that he got those powers from a source less than graceful. But I will accept that he's grown up or whatever. I'm just concerned about his past connections. Who he was messy. I just don't want him to be messy in who he becomes.
Of course, that makes sense. I don't necessarily believe that to be too much of a problem, Vera. If we were weathered and worn with the idea of whom we associated with from our past lives, you and I may be in a bit more sordid trouble than not. I look at Shaun's situation and I see it for what it is. It's a nature versus nurture. The point of his strength is from a less than desired individual, as you've pointed out, and I'm inclined to agree. But the tutelage that he's received from you, Max, and myself, I think has been invaluable and will make him quite the asset. Much like you see myself in some ways, I believe it would be harmful to our cause to lose Shaun. I think he needs guidance more than ever.
In fact, I couldn't agree more, Duke. That's why I worry for him. I know Vera Volkov worry about Shaun. He just walked out the front door as if somebody wasn't trying to snipe Max's head off last night.
I thought this was a valuable opportunity for him to hit the ground running, and I need to feed. I choose at this point not to feed from Lyle because I don't feel as if I have been as useful to you, and my abilities to extort, extract, coerce even, while I could usher such a feed. I do believe that Shaun owes me a great debt with how I'm handling this delicate situation at my feet, and he angles down to Mia.
What do you mean? That you're not doing an adequate job?
We have had to live sort of separately in so many ways. I've done some things that were reminiscent of my past, and while I'm not immediately proud of it, it was the nature of the situation. I had to do things that were separate from Vera Volkov.
No, I think I'm sad to hear you say that you feel like you've not lived up to some expectation to need to feed from Lyle. I know that your whole life is a business transaction,
but we're already in a business deal. So if you need something, you should tell me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I wanted to clear a debt, and this is a very clear debt for Shaun to solve.
Understood. Nobody likes to be in debt. Speaking of kindred in debt, let's talk about Jackson. I know.
Distaste. Massive distaste in my mouth.
Let's leave Max to heal and go upstairs.
Very well.
Do so. Nobody's up there waiting for you.
Where is Lyle gone?
To do what he's best at. And stalk somebody who believes they're prettier than me.
So what do you have in mind for Jackson?
Well, other than all the many ways that his flesh could be flayed from his bones, I wanted to talk to you about that. I imagine that he's not going to be excited about the state that Gary was left in, but there can be zero doubts that we have fulfilled on our end. He could walk in the door tomorrow and claim it with all his power and money. But our deal was to each other. We can't upset Jackson to the point that he wants to get rid of us. In fact, I'd like to do the opposite.
I think I understand. How do we make ourselves this way?
Well, Duke, we already technically are. Why do you think he sent us away? It's not because he didn't like us or because he wanted the hotel. It was simply because he wanted to test us. We have to make ourselves invaluable to him if we want to continue to be the thorn in his side.
I can't claim to know Jackson's motives. I can't understand from his position where a coterie returning from New York under the events there enough, where it would be a problem. But we could be placed here, announced at Elysium. The Harpy would speak in circles discussing a previous scourge, such as yourself. I'm sure it would light the world of Chicago ablaze for a short time.
No doubt. And we will have the chance for them all to gossip about me. But until then, we have to actually get the invitation to Elysium. We are owed what we are due, and that is the hotel.
That deal cannot be washed under the rug. There are too many eyes and figures above board that are aware of it. Too much money was moved.
Correct.
It can't be ignored.
But we have to make it valuable for Jackson. To actually give us such a thing in his city. Try to think like a Ventru here, Duke.
I have thought like a Ventru, which is why I chose that location.
Precisely. Because he knows it's a good investment. So now we have to figure out how to make that hotel the most important thing. Not only to us, but potentially to some of the foundation of the Camarilla of Chicago. I'm tired of eating from scraps off the table, Duke. And as you said, we deserve more. Especially at this point. So I have an idea.
What ideas do you have?
You mentioned the Harpy. What if I wanted to be the person the Harpy comes to for rumors? And information and power?
Well, I would say that you have your work cut out for you. Chicago's a big place.
Yes. But the right movers and shakers, I guess you could say I was inspired on the boat. Meeting the mayor and all that of Gary, Indiana. His powerful friends, and how easily they quickly bent to my ass. The bar in the hotel, I'm going to turn into a lounge club. Vera Volkov will not dance anymore. And I promise you, every important, kind, and kindred will be able to come and watch. And they're going to want to. With the escort service I plan to offer as well, with a look don't touch policy, we'll have all the information we can shake a stick at. I need you to figure out how to monetize it.
Above board or below?
Have we ever operated above board?
My question is, do you want it to involve the drug trade or not?
I'm not saying that we can't continue the drug trade. I'm just saying I won't be the one to run it. That's going to go to Shaun.
I think Shaun would have it that way. He likes being the center of attention.
Maybe he does get some things honest.
I will stew on this and see where I can move paperwork, numbers. What seems to be the best financial move. I hazard to say I don't want to move into a direction or destination that makes us money too quickly. We'll inevitably end up on radars.
Absolutely. Always the slow burn.
I can do that for you, Vera.
Do it for us, Duke.
You probably notice in that moment that there is, like, that his head turns in such a way that there's hesitation in the notion of us.
You have concerns.
I'm not so sure if that's something that matters to me anymore.
What? Power, money?
Your hotel?
It's entertaining. The pursuit, the puzzle in it all. But it's more rewarding to see it go to you.
Why is that?
You've been pushed under the thumb for so long. You have been walked on for so long that honestly, Vera, it's a shame that the Camarilla has clipped your wings. I think the swan has to fly.
Maybe. But when a swan can't fly away, she learns to fight.
I'll see to your hotel. I'll see to your lounge. I'm happy to make sure that there are a criminal amount of funds funneling its way into the destination, all legal, of course, accounted for. But I'm hoping more of the puzzle arises, something that makes it difficult.
I imagine along the way we'll find all the right buttons of Jackson's to push. But I do have a question. What is it that you want?
I'm struggling to define that in these nights.
It has been a lot, the move. The smell of Gary still in my nostrils.
It has pervaded my senses. It has lacked clarity, and that's something I'm hoping to find. But we'll see what Chicago does, or what it can do.
Well, I imagine we can make it do anything. This is why you're here, Duke.
As those words fall from Vera's lips, our screen fades and slowly transitions to a busier night street. Early in the evening within Chicago, there are plenty of civilians walking and bustling by Josh. No matter where Shaun is, there's people around. You're on your way to areas you've dealt with a couple of people in this part of Chicago the few times you've been out here. And as you're walking, just to your left-hand side, down one of the many small alleyways you pass by in the city like this, you simply hear your name whispered, Shaun.
Shaun's going to stop, look around.
You stop dead. It causes the person behind you to bump into you. And you're like, oh, what the fuck, dude? Step out of... People are...
Keep walking.
There's a wait list to get to the club up front if you want to move your ass out of the way. Fucking idiot. And he walks by you, doesn't even give you a chance to reply. It's clear that nobody else seems to have heard that.
Well, the first thing I do is I check the rooftop above the alleyway. I'm just looking up. I'm not going to climb it. Yeah.
I won't even make you make a wits awareness. You see nobody.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into the alleyway.
Okay. You stop for a minute. You look up. You don't see anything. Take a moment to kind of gather yourself, and you move into the alleyway. There's nobody here. There's not like anybody lingering or drinking or puking or pissing in the corner. It's a pretty empty alleyway. And as you look around, you realize there's nowhere for anybody to hide. You don't see any dumpster someone could be hiding behind. There's a couple trash bags, but that's not big enough to hide anybody. And you just keep... do you wander to the end of the alleyway, which would lead to basically another building? It'd probably be halfway through the block. Do you stop and look around? What does Shaun do when he kind of realizes there's nowhere for anybody to hide?
He's going to assume he's seen Max use obfuscate. So what he's going to do is he's going to walk a little bit further into it, but he's going to start looking around to see if there's signs of stuff being disturbed, because he can't see through obfuscate.
Wits investigation, please, sir.
Well, never mind. I guess we won't.
If you want a wits awareness,
I would love to.
It's a little bit of a higher difficulty because you're just kind of... Wits awareness is more of like glancing around, taking in the moment, rather than like a deep inspection of the area.
You know what? Let's roll investigation, even though I have no points in it.
Perfect. Do you want to rouse and add to it?
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot about that. 3.
3 successes is pretty good. You have no ability to re-roll them, but that's plenty, as it beats a hard check. And you spend another maybe minute looking around, trying to see maybe there's something move. Maybe there's somebody standing still. You know Max can go invisible. You know Nosferatu can go invisible. And you keep looking around. It isn't until the minute kind of rounds out and you're kind of getting frustrated and you're about to leave that as you turn rather to head to the exit, your eyes catch something. It's not another individual. It's not another kindred lingering invisibly in the shadows. You catch your own reflection for a moment in the puddle on the ground. It's still you. The difference is, what are Shaun's eye color?
Ooh, good question. They're probably very dark.
It's probably why it catches you then, because your eyes are a crystal blue as you look into your own reflection for a moment. And you hear that whisper again, Shaun. And you see your own reflection. Speak it. And in that moment, as you're about to try to figure out what's going on, why this reflection of yourself seems to be calling your name, we'll cut to black. And we'll be back next time. Thank you all so much for being here. We'll be back next week with another episode. Goodbye.